Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome to Quick Break Games, where we cover everything LEGO gaming. In this video, we're doing the top 5 best LEGO Star Wars cutscenes of all the LEGO Star Wars games. So this goes back to the original LEGO Star Wars game in 2005 based on the prequel trilogy. Then we're doing LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy from '06, the Complete Saga, which is basically both those games combined. And then we're doing LEGO Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars, and then the Force Awakens game in 2016. So I tried to incorporate some things from all of those games here in this list. And this is everything before the upcoming LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga later this year, where it's going to cover all 9 movies and we're going to get fresh cutscenes for everything. So maybe I'll have to redo this list after that game comes out. Maybe we'll just do one just based off that game, like the best cutscenes in the Skywalker Saga game. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I chose these mostly based on how funny they are, or how cinematic they are, and just how much of a laugh they give you overall. So we're just going to go down the list from number 5 all the way down to number 1. You can let me know if you agree or disagree with this list, and let's go ahead and get started with number 5. So at number 5 we have the Luke and Vader versus Palpatine fight from the prologue of LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This is from the newest game, the opening level, where it's kind of based at the end of Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And this is kind of comes from the middle of the level after you beat Palpatine and the kind of mini boss fight that you have to do there. So in the cutscene you have Sidious using Force Lightning on Luke, and then it's leaving it up to Darth Vader to finish him off. And there's like this little quick time event that's kind of mixed in the cutscene where you're kind of pushing against Sidious as Darth Vader, and then he throws him off the edge. And one great thing about the newer games is the increased graphical fidelity that you don't have in the older LEGO Star Wars games, from like the mid-2000s. The cutscenes are a lot more cinematic, and the lightning looks great here, and overall it just looks really sharp. And I imagine this is similar to what Skywalker Saga is going to look like, but of course that game is going to look even better because it has a brand new graphics engine. It's most likely going to be on next-gen consoles, I'm guessing. And yeah, there's going to be a huge improvement there, but overall this game looks pretty good as well. But the reason this cutscene made it on the list is due to the next bit, where you have Vader dying and Luke's kind of like helping him. He's removing his helmet, but when he goes to remove his helmet, you expect it to be, the old gray Anakin, the kind of burnt up Anakin, but he takes off the helmet and it ends up being like the Hayden Christensen Lego from like the Clone Wars game, or at least the more updated Anakin Skywalker model, the Hayden Christensen one. And it's just a genuinely funny moment. Like I've seen a lot of people say, like in the comments of YouTube videos, saying like this is like one of the funniest moments of the entire game. And I have to agree, it's just funny how he takes off the helmet and you don't really expect it. And then you even have this moment where Luke kind of goes like, "Ugh," when he takes it off. It's kind of funny. It kind of reminds me of the older LEGO games before you had voice acting, when they would make kind of funny noises like that. And then you have Luke switching out the head with the proper, old man, gray, burnt up Anakin head. Like the head kind of comes out of the Darth Vader helmet, which is funny. But overall, this is what I would consider the best or the funniest cutscene in LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens, due to that little Anakin bit. It's funny, and it's got the cinematic moment with Sidious and Vader at the beginning. And overall, yeah, that's why I would place this at number 5. Okay, so at number 4, we're moving on to LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars from 2011. And once again, we're going with the prologue here, the opening scene. So the prologue in this game takes place during Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, during the Geonosian arena battle, where you have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin and Padme all trapped in the arena, and then all the Jedi and Mace Windu come and save them, and there's this huge battle. There's a really cool moment in the movie, and that's when this game opens up. So I'm also including all the little cutscenes that you see throughout the level as well, and the reason this made it in the list is all the little funny bits you see throughout these cutscenes. So at the start of this scene, for some reason, you have the Jedi Luminara like giving ice cream cones to the Geonosians for some reason, and this goofy ice cream cone bit like carries throughout the entire cutscene, as you'll see later. You also see the Separatists start eating them too. And then kind of mixed in there, you have this funny moment between Anakin and Padme where they're like about to kiss. But then it returns to that funny ice cream plot where Dooku refuses the ice cream from Jango Fett. Like Jango Fett's offering the ice cream for some reason, and Dooku's like, "No, I don't want that." And then the other Separatist leaders like don't want to disagree with Dooku, I guess, and they follow him and they throw theirs out as well. It's just a funny little goofy bit. Like I'm not sure who at TT Games thought of the whole ice cream plot, but I think it's pretty funny. Another cool aspect about this cutscene is it features these weird like real life / Lego hybrid creatures. Like they're the same creatures that attack Obi-Wan and Anakin in the Jedi arena that you saw in the movie, and they look really similar to the movie, except part of their bodies are real and then part of them are Lego. Like you have the tall green creature, I'm not sure the name of it, maybe you guys can tell me in the comments, but its legs are made up of Lego, which is very weird. Like, some people think this is weird, but I mean, I kind of agree, but I think it is a pretty unique feature of this game. And I think the reason they made the legs Lego is because later on when you're actually fighting it and during the gameplay, that the legs kind of signify what you can actually hurt or destroy. And that's kind of a common theme throughout the Lego games, is anything that's made up of Lego, it typically means that you can destroy it or interact with it, whereas the stuff that looks like real life is not interactable. So I think that's why they did it, but it still looks pretty bizarre. And then later on in this cutscene, you have Mace Windu showing up, and he has his own ice cream, so they couldn't just drop the ice cream thing. It continues on. And then Django ends up melting it with his flamethrower on his arm, and that just ticks off Mace Windu, I guess. Then Mace Windu jumps off, and then the whole, battle begins just like it did in the original Lego Star Wars game. But overall, I think this is a really cool cutscene. It's got the hilarious ice cream bits. It's got the cool hybrid Lego creatures. I mean, what else could you want? And I can't wait to see them redo this again for Skywalker Saga, because this was already a remake, technically, because we had this in the original 2005 Lego Star Wars, and then again in the Complete Saga. So this is a very important scene, so I imagine they would have to include it again in the upcoming Skywalker Saga game for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how they redo this again, like doing the same cutscene 3 times essentially. So we'll have to wait and see for that, but for all these reasons, this comes in at number 4. So at number 3, we have the Obi-Wan versus Anakin Skywalker from the Darth Vader level of LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and it was also in the original LEGO Star Wars game. And I'm kind of including the group of cutscenes kind of in the middle and towards the end of the level. And these cutscenes just look great. These are some of the best lightsaber combat scenes in all of LEGO Star Wars, in my opinion. But you don't see lightsaber combat too much in the cutscenes, because a lot of the times when you're playing the game, the lightsaber combat is within the gameplay, which it should be. So you don't really see too much of it during the cutscenes. So here you get to see quite a bit of it, and it looks great. And these cutscenes are placed throughout the level as you progress different sections. And really, I think the duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin here is some of the best animation work from TT games, really, at least in the more older games from like the Complete Saga era. From the Complete Saga era, you have Anakin using Force Push on Obi-Wan after they walk out of the building, and then you have a little bit of lightsaber dueling where at the end Obi-Wan actually slices Anakin's butt, and it causes him to like fall on down on the platform below, and it just looks funny, like the way they implemented humor there. I thought that was great. So hopefully we get something like that in the Skywalker Saga as well, where they try to make it a little bit funny, even though it's supposed to be a serious scene in the movie, but with the LEGO games, you always have to implement some humor somehow. Then there's another cutscene on this bridge platform. It's very fast, just like the lightsaber combat was in the prequels. I think they did a good job replicating what was in the movies, because this is like a very fast animation, like the way they're going at it on the bridge. It's short, but it looks really good. Then you have the lava in the background. Like, it's very bright and blinding, like at least in the Complete Saga version. I don't think it was quite as bright in the original 2005 version, but yeah, it just looks great, like the contrast between the lava and then them fighting on the bridge. It just looks awesome. Then of course you can't forget about the final cutscene where Obi-Wan finally finishes off Anakin. There's actually 2 different versions of this cutscene when Obi-Wan loses against Anakin. If you're playing as Anakin, there's like a different variation, but I'm just showing the Obi-Wan winning variation here. And you have like Obi-Wan slicing up Anakin. It doesn't show it because this is a LEGO game, they have to kind of keep it PG, but you see him sliced up, and then you just see like a half Anakin LEGO minifigure just kind of getting burned up by the lava, or just on the edge of the platform. And yeah, this is just a great cutscene for lightsaber combat. I'm hoping in Skywalker Saga for like the ending scene, since that game will have voice acting, it's confirmed it'll have that. Hopefully we get to see the famous
I have the high ground!
Oh, that would just be great. And maybe they can make it more like the movie, where it's actually high ground, like there's a cliff, and then you have Anakin like down in the little floating thing in the lava, and then maybe we can actually see the Lego get sliced in half. Maybe that would be considered too violent for a Lego game. I think they could somehow make it maybe a comedy bit to make it fit into the kind of kid-friendly Lego games, but I think it would be great if you could actually see Anakin get sliced up, and you see like the leg piece of his minifigure and like the torso piece get split in half. I think that would be cool. But anyway, this is one of the best cutscenes in all of Lego Star Wars, I think. Like, it's just, the animation's great, the combat's great, the scene was great in the movie, and that's why it comes in at number 3 on this list. So at number 2, we have the trash compactor scene from Rescue the Princess level, and also the Death Star escape level from LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and then it was also in LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. So again, this comes from the ending of the 4th level and the start of the 5th level. These are technically 2 different cutscenes, but I'm going to kind of combine them into one because they really go together. I think this cutscene has some of the best comedy from LEGO Star Wars 2 and really the Complete Saga as a whole. Like, there's so many funny moments that show the personalities of the LEGO versions of these characters. So you have Leia being rescued and they're being shot at by the stormtroopers. And Leia, her character in this game is kind of like a more serious, tough character. And she just takes the blaster from Luke. You know, Luke's kind of more laid back in this game. And she just takes the blaster from Luke, starts firing it. And she ends up firing it into the trash compactor to open up a path, and she jumps in. And then all the human characters jump in just fine, like Han Solo, Luke, and Leia, they all don't care. Then you have the animal Wookiee character, Chewbacca, and he thinks it smells too bad. He's like, I'm not going in there. Even though he's probably like the smelly Wookiee, but he doesn't want to go in the trash compactor, so Han Solo has to like throw a dog bone in there. It's just a funny little bit. Then the starting cutscene of the 5th level, you have them going down the slide down to the trash compactor, and they even add some comedy here, where Leia's kind of serious, but then you have Luke just enjoying it. It's like he's on a water slide or something. He just loves it. It's great. And then when he finally lands on the ground, like the way he just punches Han's arm, like, wasn't that great? And it's just hilarious. And then once they're actually in the trash compactor, the comedy doesn't stop there, because then when they're actually getting crushed, you see like the Lego minifigure heads like start expanding. It's just so funny. But overall, this sequence is just filled with personality and comedy. And I think without the voice acting, it definitely adds more personality to the cutscene for sure. But overall, that's why this comes in at number 2. Alright, so at number 1 we have Luke vs. Vader from Cloud City Trapped from LEGO Star Wars Complete Saga, and then of course it was also in LEGO Star Wars 2. And this is the classic I am your father scene from Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. So, you know, I had to put it as number 1 on this list. So it starts off with some lightsaber combat between Luke and Vader, and I don't think the animations for the lightsabers are as good as the Mustafar fight from the number 3 on this list. But the lightsaber battles also weren't as flashy in the original trilogy as they were in the prequel trilogy, just because they had technical limitations back then, things like that. So I'm guessing TT Games was trying to replicate that here and trying to make it more stiff and not as crazy, doing jumps everywhere and stuff like that. So I think they did a good job there. So then you have Luke losing his little Lego hand, and then the best part of what makes this number 1 is Vader pulls out a picture of Anakin and Padme from the prequel era, and you can even see like the pregnant Padme and everything like that. And to try to show that he is Luke's father. And it's so funny because they don't have voice acting. Obviously they can't have the classic I am your father line in the game, which is probably going to be in the Skywalker Saga. I imagine it would have to be because that game's going to have voice acting, so they probably won't be able to do this again, unfortunately, in the new game. But yeah, they couldn't do that, so what did TT Games do? They just have him show a picture, and it's just a funny comedic moment because it also incorporates the prequels in there, because you see like the Anakin from the first game, which is great. And again, this kind of stuff won't be in the Skywalker Saga because we know the game will have voice acting, unless there is an option to turn it off. We don't know for sure yet at the time we are recording this video, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. This bit was actually so good is that they reused it in the CGI trailer for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga last year in 2019. But I don't think it's going to be like that again in the final game, just because they have voice acting and everything like that. And this cutscene is another great example of the different kind of humor that you have when you don't have voice acting versus the newer LEGO games where you do have voice acting. And I actually did a whole video about this, on the whole debate versus the grunting and mumbles versus voice acting. You can check that out in a card in the top right of the screen here on the channel. But back to the cutscene, then you have Luke jumping off into the tunnel. He slams into this antenna thing right between his legs, and man, that had to hurt. And they just had to add one little bit of humor and comedy within the last part that obviously wasn't there in the movie, but you know, this is a LEGO game, and they have to add some comedy and humor, and it's just great. And it really makes this one of the best cutscenes in all of LEGO Star Wars. I think it is the best in my opinion, and that's why it is coming in at number 1. But overall, that is my list for the top 5 best LEGO Star Wars cutscenes. I know there's some more really good ones, like I almost included like the Darth Maul ending where Qui-Gon Jinn ends up dying and Darth Maul falls off, and you see like Darth Maul's legs like still hanging around. There's lots of other cutscenes that are great, but of course I wanted to incorporate some of the cutscenes from the newer LEGO games like the Force Awakens and the Clone Wars. But yeah, let me know some other cutscenes, like maybe there's some stuff from the newer games that you thought should be included on this list. Let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, dislike it if not, and be sure to subscribe again for all the latest LEGO content. We're going to be covering Skywalker Saga pretty heavily on this channel, as well as a lot of other LEGO games, doing mini kit guides and other things like that, walkthroughs, lots of fun stuff on this channel. So subscribe for all that, and I will see you guys next time here on Quick Brick Games.